Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Code with Hafiz. My name is Hafizullah Masoudi and this is our 9th video of this tutorial, which is making multiple authentication system in Laravel framework. As you guys remember, in our last video we finished the delete functionality for the users. Let's first log into our system as administrator. So administrator at app.com and password is password. Now let's go to this manage users. Let's create a user. So Hafizullah at app.com, create user. If you remember guys, when we delete a user, the delete functionality works just fine, but our table doesn't refresh. You can see this doesn't go away. So if we refresh it manually, you can see now that the user has gone. So we have to fix this, because whenever we delete a user, so we want to also refresh the table or this page. So let's head to the code editor and open your project in Visual Studio Code. Go to this resources, views, admin, or not admin, JS, because if you remember guys, we created our delete functionality using vue.js components. So let's go to this components, user delete. Now what we want to do is, after deleting or sending this ajax or axios request, we want to refresh the page. So in here what we can do is, let's say window.location.reload, and this will refresh the page. So we don't need this message because we don't want to show this message. Let's get back to browser and refresh. Let's check if we don't have any errors. So let's first create another user and let's say create user. Now let's say we want to delete this one. So if I delete it, the page should refresh. Well, one thing more guys, we have to compile our code. So let's also open a command prompt window, and let me zoom it a little bit. Let's first navigate to our project folder. So cd //vamp 64/www/multi-auth, and now let's run yarn run watch. Well, everything has compiled successfully. Now let's force refresh and let's create one user again and create user. Yeah, now let's try to delete it. You can see guys, now it has been refreshed and the record has gone away. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do in this video. Now the next thing I want to do is create a change password for the user, because I want the users to be able to change their passwords by themselves. So if we log out from here, and now let's log in, for example, as director. Password is password. Now this is our user dashboard. Now the first thing we want to do is, let's create a link for the password change blade in this menu. So let's get back to our text editor, and now let's close this component because we don't need it. Let's go to resources, views, user, and layouts, because we are working on our main blade, and we want to create the link inside this drop down menu. So first let's find that drop down menu. Well, this is the drop down menu. Now what we can do is let's copy this one from here and paste it before the logout. For the text, let's say change password. Remove this register. Let's say change password. And for the route, let's say we want to go to change password route. And we don't need any ID because we will change password according to the logged in user. So the next thing that we want to do is let's create this route in our routes file. So let's go to routes, web.php, and we want to create that route in our user group. So let's say route : get, and this one should be change that / password. It should go to user controller at change password route or change password method. Let's also give this route a name of change password. Now let's create this change password method in our user controller. So let's go to app, http controllers, and user controller. In here, let's say public function change password. And what we want to do is load our view. So let's return the view. Let's say return view, and the view should be inside user dot, let's say change password. Now let's create this blade in our users folder. So right click, new file, let's say change password.blade.php. Now in here, what we want to do is copy everything from the dashboard. So copy it and paste it here. Now instead of hello user, let's say we want to create a row, and inside this row let's create a co-md-6, and let's also justify this row, justify -content -center, and inside this call md let's create a card, and let's create a card body, and let's create our form. And now if we go back, refresh, it's not showing good. So let's get back to our user blade and let's see what is the problem. Well guys, we have to remove this li because we don't need it. So let's remove it, and instead of nav link, let's copy this class and paste it here. Now if we go back, refresh, yeah, it's looking good. Now let's go to this change password. You can see our card has been created. Well, is it still a little bit, or it's okay, it's fine. Now let's create our input fields, but before that let's define our csrf field, and after that let's create a row, and let's say create call md-4, and in here the first input that we want is our old password. So what we need is a label for old underscore password, and let's say old password. After that we need our input, which should be password, and let's give it a name of old underscore password, and let's give the class of form dash control. Now let's copy this call MD4 two times more, and this one should be for new password. So password, instead of old password, let's say new password, and this one should be two password, and the third one should be for password confirmation. So password underscore confirmation. Let's say password confirmation, and for the name we also want password confirmation. Now if we go back and refresh, yeah, that's looking fine. Now let's create our button. So in the bottom, let's say button, and let's say change password, and let's also give the class of btn primary. Now if we go back, refresh, yeah, let's also put this button inside a row, but before that let's put a break, and let's create a row, or not row guys, let's create a call md. So call md dash 12 and paste our button. Our break is not working, let's put another break. Now if I go back, refresh, well, this is still not working. Put another break. Guys, what we can do is let's bring this button outside that row and create another row, but before that put a break and put this button inside this row. Now it should be fine. Yeah, it's fine. Now the next thing is, guys, to declare the route for the action of this form. So at the top, first let's declare our method. It should be post, and let's now declare our route. So double curly brackets and route, and let's give it a name of, what should we give? Will we give this one change password? Now let's say update password, and now let's create this route in our routes file. So duplicate this one and let's paste instead, and instead of password change password, let's say update password. Now let's create the method in our controller. So public function update password, and that's all. So before we work on this method, the first thing that we will do inside this method is to validate our passwords. But before that, we have to create a rule for our old password, because we want to match this first input field, which is old password, to the logged in users data or password in the table. So let's log in and go to multi-auth and go to users. We want to match the old password to this password field. So for that we have to create a rule. So how can we create a rule? We can create it using command prompt. So let's open a new command prompt window, and inside here let's first navigate to our project folder. Now we can say php artisan make colon rule, and let's name it match old password, and press enter. Well, our rule has been created successfully, and it should be under app folder, rules, and match old password. Now in here, first let's use our hash. So use hash. Now the next thing is to work on this passes method. So let's return our hash colon check, and we want to check for the value, and we want to check it with the auth arrow user arrow password field. And that's all guys, that for this method. Now for the error message, let's say we want to show the attribute which is the old password field. So in here, let's say the attribute does not match, and that's all guys. Now the next part is, let's close this one because we don't need it anymore. And guys, this method should be post. Don't forget to make it post. Now let's go to our user controller, and in here what we want to do is work on this update password method. So first let's validate our data. So request, well, let's also put our request in here. So request. Now let's say arrow validate, we need our array, and inside this array, let's say first of all we want to match the old password. So old password, and let's say it should be equal to required, and after that we want to send it to the real rule that we created. So new match old password. Let's also import this at the top of our controller. So use app /rules /match old password. Now after this one, let's validate our password, which is new password, and this one should be, for example, only required. And the third one is password confirmation underscore confirmation, and let's say this one should be equal to, let's say it should be same as the password field, which is the new password. Now after this, let's say user colon, which is user model, and we want to find our auth arrow user arrow id, and we want to say update the password field, and which should be equal to hash colon make, because we want to make hash the new password. So request arrow password. Now let's import this user model and this hash also. So use app /user and use hash. And after everything has been done, we want to show a session message. So session colon flash, and it should be success, and the message should say password updated successfully. And after that we want to return redirect back to the same page. So that's all guys. Now the next step is to, first we have to echo all if the validation errors are true. So we want to echo each error in this change password blade. Or guys, let's echo our session errors and session success messages in our main blade. So we can echo everything in here. let's echo them inside this main area. So let's say we want row, or before row let's say add for each $sign errors, arrow all as $sign error. Let's end for each, so end for each, and inside here let's say we want to put a paragraph tag, or yeah, that's good, and we want to give it a class of text dash danger, which is bootstrap class, and let's echo our error. So double curly brackets, $sign error. And for the success message, let's say at for each, or not for each guys, if session colon has success, and end our if, let's say we want a paragraph tag, let's give the class of text success, and let's say for double curly brackets, and let's say session colon get our success message. And I think that's all guys. If we go back to the browser now, let's refresh and let's type an incorrect old password. Now if I change password, yeah, it says the old password does not match the password confirmation and password must match. Well guys, it's not looking good. Let's say it should be also text center. So let's get back to code editor and let's say text center. Or guys, and instead of showing it like this, let's say we want a div with a class of alert and alert dash danger, and after that let's cut this one from here and paste it here. Now we don't need this paragraph tag. Let's see how it looks like. So let's type incorrect passwords. Yeah, that's good, but let's also put it in a container. So dot container, and put everything inside container. Let's change the column of this one to 8. So let's say this one should be not 8, 10. Let's refresh. Yeah, that's good. Now let's type some incorrect passwords. Yeah, that's looking just great. Now the next thing that we want to do is also copy this div from here and paste it here too. So let's remove this paragraph tag and this one too. And let's close our div. And instead of danger we want success. Now let's try to submit our password correctly. So password is old password is password. We want to give the new password from 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Now let's say change password. It says class session not found. So we have to go back to a text editor and go to user controller, and at the top let's say use session also. Now if we go back, refresh, it says the old password does not match. So let's see what is the problem. We are sending this old password field, and if we go back to the change password, its name is old password. And it it should work. Well, let's try it again. So let's type our old password, which is password, and our new one should be 12345. 12345. Well guys, I think we changed the password to 1235. Because of the session error we didn't notice it. So let's type 12345 and let's type this time password for the new password, and let's say change password. Yeah, it has been changed successfully, and our session message is also working just fine. So guys, this was how to create change password for the users, and because users should be able to change their passwords by themselves. So I hope you like the video, and if you like the video, please don't forget to subscribe the channel to support and to not miss any updates or more tutorials in coding. So this is enough for this video, and I will think of more that what will I do in my next video. So for now, bye guys, see you in the next video.